Okay, it's time. So welcome again to the MCA Lunch and Learn. We do this monthly, usually the third Thursday of every month at noon. We'd like to thank you for joining. Today's topic is technical education and analysis for community hauling and anaerobic digesters. It's a new program. Marcello Pibiri will be explaining the new program as we get in. As always, we'd like to thank our MCA corporate sponsors. These are our corporate members who make this all possible. If you're interested in becoming a member, our contact information will be available during the slide. We will also send these slides to everybody who has registered, so you'll have these as a reference point. The MCA mission is really to promote a greater understanding of cogeneration. We work promote cogeneration on a policy level and on a practical level. For more information, we have our website listed below, www.cogeneration.org, or you can Google Midwest Cogeneration Association. It'll pop up first thing. We're also really pleased that we are rolling out, just as of yesterday, a new directory, which if you go to our webpage and you click on getting to know us about the staff, you can go to the directory page. It will have the logo and a little brief information of all our corporate members, and also there's a list of all our individual members. So this is a great way to get some visibility in the CHP world. Okay, again, this is the MCA monthly webinar series. We do it usually the third Thursday of every month at 12 p.m. We try to present new CHP related topics each month. We also welcome you to, if you have any suggestions, if you have any ideas for new topics, or if you would like to present, please contact me. And again, we're going to begin with Marcello's presentation. Marcello has been working with the ERC since 2016. He's an expert in wastewater treatment. He's been working as outreach coordinator for the wastewater treatment plant and the K-12 ComEd incentive programs. Marcello supports several technical energy and environmental initiatives at the ERC, conducting research and evaluating energy savings opportunities for clients. Prior to joining the ERC, Marcello worked for several years in project management of electrical and technological installation. Marcello holds a master's degree in energy from the University of Illinois at Chicago and a bachelor's degree in electrical engineering from the L'Università degli Studi dell'Aquila in Italia. Allora, and so we welcome Marcello. Marcello?
Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for the introduction. Thanks for joining this presentation and for the opportunity to speak today. So, as Sam said, my name is Marcello Pibiri. I'm with the University of Illinois Chicago Energy Resources Center. And today I'm very pleased to talk about the new Environmental Protection Agency funded program that we will kick off here at ERC in around a week. And the title of this program is Technical Education and Analysis for Community Hauling and Anaerobic Digesters, TEACH-AD. And the main goal of the program is to help communities and water resource recovery facilities in the Midwest region divert food waste from landfills by providing education and no-cost technical assistance to explore the increased adoption of anaerobic digestion and renewable energy biogas technologies, including CHP. So this program comes as a result of the effort of the US EPA to increase the use of anaerobic digestion to manage food waste, and from EPA's overall goal to support the development of new anaerobic digestion infrastructure in the US. Next slide, Sam, please. Okay, real quick, this is the agenda for today's today's presentation, I'm going to talk about the importance of diverting food from landfills. And then I'll give you an overview of the various types of anaerobic digesters that there are out there. We'll see the typical components of a biogas CHP system. And in the last part of the presentation, we'll see how to work together with the Teach AD program. Next slide. Okay, so as I said, one of the goals of the program is to increase food waste diversion from landfills. EPA estimated that in 2011, in the United States, more food reached landfills and combustion facilities than any other single material in our everyday trash. So it's very important to reduce the amount of food reaching landfills for several reasons. First of all, when food goes to the landfill, the nutrients in the food never return to the soil, and the wasted food rots and produces methane, which we all know is a potent greenhouse gas. And landfills are in fact the third largest source of human-related methane emissions in the United States, accounting for approximately 15% of these emissions in 2018. And we can see that in the pie chart on the right. So there is definitely an environmental issue with landfills, and by reducing the amount of food in landfills, we reduce the amount of methane that goes into the atmosphere. Next slide, please. Okay, so more in general, wasted food is a growing problem in our society, and it's also a lost opportunity. So the Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations estimated in 2011 that approximately 1/3 of all food produced for human consumption worldwide is lost or wasted, 1/3. So that's why it's so important to manage food in a sustainable way. And in this regard, I'm showing the picture on the right. This is the EPA food recovery hierarchy, which shows from top to bottom the strategies that can be implemented to manage wasted food, where the least preferred solution is represented by landfills, and the most preferred strategy is source reduction. In fact, there are several actions that can be taken, not only by business, but also by each of us, by individuals, to reduce the amount of wasted food. So this is by all means a prevention measure. The second most preferred strategy is to feed hungry people. So here the motto is feed people, not landfills, basically. In fact, part of the wasted food is still edible. It's good food and healthy that can be donated to food banks and other entities. Feeding animals with food scraps is also a good strategy. And after that come the industrial uses of food waste, which include also anaerobic digestion. And Sam, if you can just click once, okay, perfect. So we can say that that's where anaerobic digestion is located in the food recovery hierarchy. So anaerobic digestion doesn't directly contribute to source reduction or feed hungry people or animal, but it does recover part of the value that is still present in the wasted food, such as energy and nutrients. And this is what we're going to see in the next slide. Okay, so anaerobic digestion is a natural process in which microorganisms break down organic materials such as food waste in the absence of oxygen. And this happens also in landfills. But one of the differences is that in anaerobic digesters, this process takes place in a sealed vessel. So there won't be methane released in the atmosphere, and the process can be better managed and controlled because this vessel, this reactor is built and designed to do that, to digest organic matter. And two are the valuable outputs from an anaerobic digester. One is the biogas, which is a methane-rich gas that can be used as fuel. And the other one is the digestate, which is the residual material left after the digestion process, which is rich in nutrients. And the picture on the right kind of shows everything that is involved with an anaerobic digester. On the top, we have the inputs, which we know are the organic materials, not only food waste, but also animal manure, solids from the wastewater stream, or other materials. On the lower part of the picture, we can see the outputs. And as I say, these are biogas and digestate. And on the bottom of the picture, we can see what we can do with these outputs. So the biogas, as I said, is rich in methane. So after some treatment, it can be used to generate heat and electricity, such in a combined heat and power unit, or it can be used as a vehicle fuel or injected into a pipeline as renewable natural gas. The digestate on the other side, being rich in nutrients, can be used as fertilizer or for other products. Next slide. Okay, so this is a typical biogas CHP configuration. As we can see, biogas from an anaerobic digester, it's burned in an engine or a turbine to generate electricity, and the heat is captured. So in this basic diagram, the jacket water heat from the engine is used to heat the digester, but also heat from the exhaust can be recovered and used again to heat the digester or for space heating for the buildings located on the site or for other applications such as sludge drying. And the electricity generated can be used at the plant or distributed to the grid. And a gas storage can be included in the design of the system, as we can see in this diagram. A gas storage can be beneficial as far as flexibility in terms of when to produce electricity. So we can basically produce electricity when it's more convenient. And especially when the gas production is variable, it can minimize start and stops of the engine, as well as increase overall utilization rate.
Okay, Marcello, a question came in while you were speaking, and it was, what is the enteric fermentation shown as the largest contributor to methane emissions in the pie chart? So I'm going to go back to the previous slide so you can answer that question. So in this pie chart.
Enteric fermented, that's a good question. Honestly, I can take this online because I'm not sure about that. I was focused mostly on the landfill percentage of the methane emissions. So let me take this offline.
Yeah, so if the person who asked that question would like to ask it, just send me it by email, or Marcello will get back to you after the presentation.
Thank you.
Okay. There we go.
Okay, so all anaerobic digesters, adhere to the same basic principles, whether the feedstock is food waste, animal manure, or wastewater sludge. So the process is the same, but the design can vary from digester to digester based on several parameters such as operating temperature, feedstock variation, percent solid content, etc. So without going into the details of that, I decided to categorize the types of digesters based on the facility or business that they serve, because I think that this categorization helps to better understand which are the potential customers of the THAD program. So the first category is represented by anaerobic digesters in wastewater treatment plants. So the primary purpose of these digesters is to treat the wastewater solids, but the opportunity here consists of utilizing available digester capacity to co-digest food waste and other organic feedstock from off-site sources. And standalone digesters can be operated as organic recycling businesses, community-based operations, or built by a municipality to manage residential food waste. Other standalone digesters are built to process industry-specific wastes, and this is common in the food and beverage industry. And typically these digesters are co-located at processing plants and are designed to process a certain kind of material. In general, the primary feedstock processed in standalone digesters is food waste, but these digesters potentially can also co-digest other organic materials, such as yard waste, manures, and wastewater solids. So it's interesting to note that the demand for standalone digesters is increasing to address the increase of the diversion of food waste from landfills. So that's that's a good sign. So there is definitely an opportunity here. And the last category is represented by on-farm digesters. By processing animal manure, these digesters can help farmers manage nutrients and reduce odors, and also generate additional revenues for the farm. These digesters can also accept outside food waste as feedstock. So similar to digesters at wastewater treatment plant, there is an opportunity here to utilize existing digester capacity to co-digest food waste. Next slide, Sam. Okay, so traditionally the top use of biogas across all the digester types that I just discussed is production of combined heat and power. And this is reflected in this chart that comes from a EPA survey of facilities that are digesting or co-digesting food waste. So all the three types of facilities, so standalone digesters, on-farm digesters, and wastewater treatment plant, have CHP as the first choice. And it's worth to notice that the survey allowed for multiple answers. So the majority of these facilities use their biogas in more than one way, but definitely CHP is the most popular choice. Next slide, Sam, please.
We have one more question while we're here. Well, I'm not being able to find the question, so I will continue with the program. Sorry.
Okay, maybe you can, you can ask me later. Okay, so I want now to spend a few minutes to talk about our new program. So again, Teach AD stands for technical and education analysis for community hauling and anaerobic digesters. As I said in the beginning, this program aims to provide both technical and educational assistance to any interested community or water resource recovery facility within the central and Midwest regions to increase anaerobic digester capacity and biogas utilization with the ultimate goal of increasing organic waste diversion rates from landfills. So the program is available to all the types of facilities that I listed in the previous slides. So we want to work definitely with wastewater treatment plants, with communities and municipalities interested in anaerobic digestion. We also want to work with food processing facilities, as they are typically a large and stable source of organic waste, and with recycling businesses, because they are often helpful in identifying and collecting food waste. And finally, farm digesters interested in farms interested in co-digesting food waste are another target for the program. And so we want to work with all these stakeholders, and as I said, we are going to offer free educational and technical assistance. Next slide, Sam. Okay, educational assistance is important to increase awareness about anaerobic digestion technology. And our assistance, it will comprise no less than 2 in-person workshops, 10 webinars, and at least 8 project profiles. So webinars and workshops will gather industry experts on assessing, installing, maintaining, and operating anaerobic digesters from across different market sectors and digester technology types. And each webinar will focus on a different aspect of an anaerobic digestion project. Possible topics are basic of co-digestion, creating a co-digestion program at wastewater treatment plant, and obviously biogas cleanup and utilization in CHP. So, we have 10 webinars, therefore plenty of space to dig into several topics. As far as workshops, these will be in-person events, and with the pandemic going on, we had to reduce the number of these events. So we initially proposed 3 in-person workshops, and we are now down to 2. But if things get better soon enough, we might come back to the initial number. And these events will be conducted with our partner organizations and will take place in a site with an existing anaerobic digester. And they also include a tour of the site. So they are really a great opportunity to get together with several stakeholders and to see a real case of a successful implementation of anaerobic digestion. The last component of the educational offering consists of a minimum of 8 project profiles. And these profiles will highlight successful anaerobic digestion projects that have implemented a co-digestion program. And this will be a 2 to 3 page document. In our experience, simple handout profiles like this can effectively communicate successes and lessons learned from other installations. Next slide, Sam. Okay, the second pillar of the program is unbiased technical assistance to help sites gauge the feasibility of constructing new or increasing existing anaerobic digestion capacity and biogas utilization. So it will consist of a minimum of 20 technical assessments utilizing the US EPA Co-Digestion Economic Analysis tool, COET, along with other tools as well, and will provide technical support to facilities and communities evaluating the use of new and existing anaerobic digesters to divert food waste from landfills. As I already said, the program is flexible as far as eligibility. So the goal is to increase food waste diversion from landfills, but the broader goal is to increase anaerobic digestion capacity. So ultimately, the program and its offerings will be open to any end user interested in expanding existing or creating new anaerobic digestion capacity. As I said, we'll be leveraging the COET tool, which has been designed to provide an initial economic and physical feasibility assessment for co-digestion of organic wastes at wastewater treatment plants. But with the tool is flexible. So with the necessary tweaks, it can be applied to several scenarios, and this is exactly what we want to do with the technical assistance. The scope itself of this assistance will be flexible depending on the site characteristics and needs. So the final deliverable to the client will be a standardized 2 to 4 page letter where we'll assess and compare the economics of various biogas uses, including in a CHP system. So we really believe that this program will be beneficial to the CHP industry. We'll also assess all type of potential revenues, such as tipping fees from new feedstock, revenue from biosolids, renewable energy credits, and so on. And of course, we'll evaluate all the costs associated with the project. So if needed, we can perform further analysis. For example, we can help identifying available food waste within a given geography. We can perform financial sensitivity for multiple project variables and other similar activities. The goal here ultimately is to provide an initial look at the feasibility of the project and to help sites identify anaerobic digestion opportunities in order for the customers to realize the project. One last thing, this flow chart shows all the phases of the technical assistance. So initially we'll request some data in order to start our analysis. Then we're going to meet with the customer to discuss the data and to hear what are the needs and expectations. and we'll then work on the report and we'll present the outcomes of our analysis. And after some time, we are going to follow up with the customer as well. So this slide concludes my presentation, but before that, next slide, Sam. Okay, so these are my contact information, my phone number, my email address. I'm listing also the address of our brand new website. So I invite you to visit this. On the home page of the website, if you scroll all the way down, there is a form where you can enter some basic information, and this will generate an email that I'll receive so that I know that you want to be in touch. Otherwise, you can call or email me directly. So if you want to get involved with the TeachAD program, if you have a site that is interested in anaerobic digestion, or if you want to attend, or even if you want to speak in any of our events, or if you have an existing project for which you would like to put together a project profile, just reach out to us. All these services are free, so take advantage of them. And that's all I have. Thank you very much. Okay. And now I can answer any question.
Okay, we do have some questions, and I apologize, the letters are very small and I'm having difficulty reading them, but I will keep going.
Hey Sam, are the questions in the chat?
No, they cannot.
I don't see them. Yeah.
But no, there's none in the chat. They're only in the question box. I am not being able to. Okay. What gas cleanup is normally required? Moisture, and it says H2S. What gas cleanup is normally required?
So, for the CHP, it's required to remove the moisture. It's required to remove siloxane and hydrogen sulfide. And typically, the most of the engine can, work with the CO2, so it's not necessary to remove that for the majority of the engine. If it's different if you want to use the biogas as a vehicle fuel, or if you want to use the biogas, if you want to inject the biogas as renewable natural gas. In this case, you have to clean, also the CO2 present in the biogas. So you have to reduce the biogas only to methane, close to 100%, in order to be classified as a renewable natural gas. So I would say probably there are three level of cleanup. The less cleanup needed is for boilers. Boilers can tolerate even the presence of siloxane. For the CHP, you want to remove the hydrogen sulfide and siloxane. And if you want to inject the biogas in a pipeline, you have to basically a gas that is basically methane.
Okay, thanks. And now there's another one. It says there is an anaerobic digester project in our neighboring county here in Ohio. It's been running now for 2 years or more and seems to be very unpopular.
What's the question, Sam?
Okay, they say it stinks terribly and there have been lawsuits to shut it down. Is this a common problem?
It shouldn't be. I mean, obviously you are digesting, sometimes you are digesting manure, you are digesting food waste. So the odor is an issue that can be confronted, can be tackled. So there are, you have to install odor. You have to manage to reduce the odors with the installation of determined equipment. So it's an expected problem that can be tackled down with odor reducing equipment. So you know, most of the time, especially if the digester is located close to, you know, a residential site, you have to do that. So I will say this is a common issue, but it doesn't mean that it cannot be solved. You just have to allocate also the resource, the financial resource needed, because it can be, you know, quite expensive to have odor reducing equipment, but you know, it's something that can be done. And you know, you know, it's a process. So when we hear these things, when the whole industry hears these things, it's never a positive thing to happen, you know, obviously, but there are ways to solve this issue.
Okay, another similar question. What percentage of harmful chemicals in solids need to be pre-filtered out before the engines to run without quick failure? What constituents are worse?
Yeah, as I say, the siloxane and the hydrogen sulfide is something that you want to get rid of from the biogas before you are running an engine, a CHP, such as in a CHP unit. So you know, that's the main treatment. These are the main components that you want to remove. And you know, it's a major factor for CHP projects because it can be quite expensive to clean up the gas, but most of the time it is necessary to do that. And as I already said, you need more extensive cleanup of the biogas if you want to inject the biogas in a pipeline. You need less cleanup of the biogas if you just want to burn the biogas in a fuel. So let's say for the CHP, you are kind of in the middle between boilers and a renewable natural gas.
Okay, so we have some people who actually Googled the enteric fermentation question, and the answer is it's cow burps and cow farts. The famous cow farts everybody's talking about, that's what the enteric fermentation is. Okay, so we have the answer to that question. And then I have another one.
Thank you.
Okay. Then I have another comment that says, hi Marcello, we have a technology to, it says PROOTE, CHP, I think it might be proof, but CHP to MTU CHP gas gensets, but we do not have the technology for anaerobic digestion. Can you mention which companies have technology to design anaerobic digesters? I think that would be offline. Individual question.
Yeah, you know, yeah. So the question is about companies that design anaerobic digesters, or that design CHP units that can run out of biogas.
Yeah, I think that's a good question to be offline because it's specific to each person, each case, and plus we shouldn't be mentioning companies online. But yeah, we do have the information of which companies work with anaerobic digestion and which work with CHP and anaerobic digestion.
Yeah, okay.
And let's see if there's any more. Oh, when do you consider two-stage anaerobic digestion?
Hey Sam, I think you got cut off.
Okay, can you hear again? Okay, we have a couple more questions. When do you consider two-stage anaerobic digestion?
So yeah, this is another good question, very technical question. So two-stage anaerobic digestion is typically
Okay, we're having an audio problem. Marcello, could you repeat the answer? We had an audio problem. Again. Marcello, it seems like, oh, I'm sorry for this delay, but there's only one more question, and it was about the smallest size of anaerobic digestion feasible. Marcello, we'll get back to you. It seems like we had a technical difficulty. His audio fell off, but those were the last two questions. Again, feel free to send me an email with any additional questions. Send it to Marcello or I.
Sam,
Okay, you're back?
can you hear me now?
Yes. Okay, Marcello's back.
So I lost connection on internet and I switched to my phone right now.
Okay, no problem. Thank you.
And
So we have two last questions. What is the smallest size anaerobic digester feasible? And then when do you consider two-stage? So those are the same part of two questions, very similar. So
yeah, I was actually responding to the two-stage, and then I realized that nobody could hear me. So I was saying, so for the two-stage digesters, so we see that this typically in wastewater treatment plants. So there are treatment plants that have a two-stage digestion process. I mean, this is, this really depends on the design of your digester, but I can say that the plus of the two-stage is that you can have a higher quantity of biogas produced, so a higher biogas production rate. On the other side, you have to confront increased cost, right? Because a two-stage digestion process could include two digesters. It's not only like that, but obviously if you have two digesters, the plant is going to be more expensive. So the bottom line is that the plus will be the increased biogas production rate. The minus will be an increased cost of the plant. And the other question you said, can you repeat the other question?
Okay, Sam? The other question is, what is the smallest size anaerobic digester feasible?
Okay, the smaller size, I'm not really, I don't really have an answer. I know that, there are research going on that can, you can build an anaerobic digester that is, it's super small, like that it can fit in a yard, easily in your backyard. So what I can say is that you need, in order to be feasible for, in order to have economic sense, you need to be able to produce an amount of biogas to, to run an engine, a CHP unit at least of, 100 kilowatt CHP unit. So I would say in this case, for the economics, probably the bigger the better, and you in order to have economic sense, you cannot have, you need to have enough biogas coming out from the digester.
Okay, and that completes all the questions for today. As I said before, if you do come up with other questions, you have questions about the program, please feel free to contact Marcello. And also I invite anybody with ideas for upcoming webinars, contact me with any of those ideas. And as always, we'd like to thank you for supporting the MCA. Thank you. I hope you enjoyed this webinar, and I hope it was educational. Marcello, do you have anything else to add?
No, thank you very much for this opportunity, and sorry if I lost connection and it took some time to go back. And yeah, just, reach out to me if you have any further question and if you want to get involved with the TeachAD program.
Okay, thank you. Thanks, everybody. And with that, we'll conclude.